This is William Robinson of ViralHair.com, and today we're speaking to
Scott Chitwood. I am publisher of Red 5 Comics.
Now, Mr. Chitwood. What makes Red 5 different from all the other big guys out there or small guys out there? I mean, what do y'all kind of specialize in as far as your comics?
Well, we like to call ourselves a boutique publisher. We do a small number of high quality comics rather than, flooding the market. And the ones we do, they're books we would want to read.
Right.
We put out stuff we would want to read. So we've got a little bit of everything. We've got sci-fi, we've got horror, all ages, post-apocalyptic, a little bit of everything. So that makes us fun, and you never know what you're going to get from us, but you do know you're going to get a high-quality book.
Yeah, as someone who's purchased your products over the years, I completely agree with that because there's stuff
Thank
I've
you.
really enjoyed doing. And being a boutique publisher, just having kind of that ability to kind of keep the stories self-contained or short runs kind of help with the crisis du jour or big switchover fatigue other companies are getting.
Yeah, well, I think we're more driven by the economics.
Right.
You do one short story, see how it's received, and if it does well, we'll do a sequel. If not, we move on to the next title. So, I think that's the big thing. And also, you do one short story arc, and you can fit it in one trade paperback, have one story, and not leave people on a cliffhanger that you never finish.
Now, along those lines, have you, big publishers, do you have any projects that are being converted to the big screen or small screen or anything else?
Yeah, we've got a title I wrote called Afterburn. It is being turned into a movie that's going to come out in 2025 starring Dave Bautista and Samuel L. Jackson.
Wow.
It's kind of Indiana Jones meets Mad Max. This solar flare hits the day side of Earth and it wipes out Europe, Africa, and Asia. And this follows a group of treasure hunters that go in and raid what's left behind. So it'll be a lot of fun. The director is a fellow by the name of J.J. Perry. He's from Houston. And he
cool.
was the stunt coordinator on John Wick.
Okay.
He taught Keanu Reeves how to shoot. And he also did the car chases on Fast and the Furious. And he did a movie on Netflix called Day Shift with Jamie Foxx and
Right.
Snoop Dogg. Yeah, so real fun director, real nice guy. He's been real fun to work with on this comic.
So it should be a pretty high octane kind of.
It is. We visited the movie set in Slovakia, and we got there and they said, we're going to have a gunfight today. We're going to blow up a truck and flip it in the air, and we're going to blow up some meat puppets. Like, great, meat puppets. That sounds fun.
As one does, yeah. Is there any horror titles right now you're kind of looking at and it's like, this is so cool, you'll dig this?
Yeah.
You got plans?
Yeah, we actually have a number of horror titles. So many, in fact, that I was able to set up at a horror convention here in Houston a few weeks ago and had a table full of horror stuff. I mean, one we have is called Atonement Bell. We got an Eisner nomination for it for Best New Series of the Year in 2023. Thank you. Yeah. It's by a fellow by the name of Jim Ousley up in the St. Louis area. In this story, a mother and son return home to St. Louis after a family tragedy. And when they get there, the young boy is marked by a cult to be a sacrifice in a 100-year ritual. He's got to figure out who marked him, why they did it, and how to undo it before it's too late. So it's a real cool, creepy horror comic. It's been a good seller for us. And also, I wrote a horror comic called Haunted. In this story, one day the sky rips apart and ghosts flood the entire planet. The whole Earth becomes a haunted house.
Oh, wow.
And it follows a young girl who's been growing up on the run from the ghost most of her life when she meets a couple guys that say they not only know how it happened, but they know how to fix it. So they go on a mission to save the world. We almost had this as a TV show, almost had it as a movie. We're still looking to get it picked up, but it's been a real good seller for us as a comic too.
So Haunted sounds like, because they use the idea of the containment unit getting blown up in Ghostbusters.
Yes.
But that sounds like, what if things did never stop? Like it continued going and just took over the Earth.
Yeah, that's actually where the idea started. Like what would have happened if the Ghostbusters didn't stop Gozer and Ghost flooded the whole world? That's where the idea started, and then it took off from there.
That doesn't sound fun.
And like Afterburn was, we can't do Indiana Jones. What would be something like Indiana Jones? And that's how the idea for that took off. So you never know where you're going to find inspiration.
Okay, so some of the scientists have debated about, and I saw Flair doing that mixed with Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, exactly.
Also sounds a little bit like bits of the Sahara movie that Matthew McConaughey did.
Yeah.
Because that was all ruins type stuff.
Things. But you never know where inspiration is going to come from. I mean, Indiana Jones came because they wouldn't let Steven Spielberg do a James Bond movie. Star Wars came about because they wouldn't let George Lucas do Flash Gordon. Yeah. So you never know where inspiration is going to come from.
That is cool. Does it select, because you do this boutique thing, does the selection process, do you prefer people to come with a full package writing and art to you?
Yeah, that's my preference, because, people come with a script and it's hard to see where they're going with it, what the end product is going to look like. And then, they're asking for us to spend money that we may or may not have.
Right.
I can spend money to make your book, or I can spend money to make my book. What do you think I'm going to do? So when they come with a completed project, it allows us to see, what the project's going to look like, see that there's quality there, and plus they get to keep more of the rights to it. So
right,
yeah. So that's the preference.
Now, along with the stable of the independent books, have you done any type of revival books, like older characters being brought back from things?
Yeah, we did a comic called Moon Girl. She was a character from the 1930s that fell into public domain, and some guys took it and turned it into a new pulp adventure. Beautiful painted art, real cool story. It's kind of like Anastasia mixed with Batman,
right?
Where this princess is going to be murdered, and her bodyguard sneaks her out of the country, trains her to fight, and she becomes a vigilante. So that was fun. That's one where we did a public.
So that kind of dovetails into the new pulp movement where they've been redoing like the Black Bat, the Spider, that sort of thing. So that's kind of
right.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
What are some newer titles y'all got coming out, or new stuff that's coming out in the pipe right now?
Yeah, there's one that just came out this past week called The Last Harlemite. It's a manga comic created by Jeff Carroll. He's based in Florida. In this story, an earthquake hits Harlem. And believe it or not, there's actually a fault line in the real world through Harlem. And when the earthquake hits, it triggers a global catastrophe. And it follows this young kid who is a survivor along with some of his friends in this post-apocalyptic world. So we're dabbling in the manga format, but mixed with the comic book floppy format. So it's out in stores now.
Right.
So keep an eye out for it. And we've got some other offerings, trade paperbacks of some of our other titles as well coming out.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, quick question, just kind of going back to this and the Afterburn. It seems like there's a lot of people now in the industry, when they do this works, a lot of them are doing the post-apocalyptic or apocalyptic titles. As someone who, as a publisher, and you kind of see how the things are going, trends are going, you think it's because people are just kind of getting kind of hopeless, or they're just venting frustration when they do these kind of works?
I think it's an interesting way to throw everyday, ordinary people into extraordinary situations. And, I think people sit back and I wonder what I would do in that world.
Right.
If the world was destroyed by a flare, what would I do? If the world was overrun by ghosts, what would that be like? And, you can kind of throw yourself into that situation maybe a little bit easier than some other more elaborate titles with sci-fi and space or superheroes. So
right.
I think that's part of it. But people are always fascinated by grim, death and destruction. So
right. Yeah, unfortunately.
If you come up with a new way to destroy the world, I think it's interesting to people. Yeah.
Okay, and along those lines, do you see people also come out with more optimistic titles or more kind of retro type theme stuff where things are kind of more defined in their opinion, the way they write and create something, or kind of like it's just a comic book. There's no statements. There's just back to tights and capes and utility belts type thing.
Well, I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Well, let me clarify. Sure. Like for example, along with like I said, the people in ordinary people in bad situations and stuff like that. Do you see also a trend where it's more optimistic books or more retro type plots are coming back out, like Golden Age type stuff, where it's not so much in the world type scenarios, but maybe more of a fun romp, where it's less the stakes are not like they are in Afterburn or others.
My personal opinion is I like the more optimistic stories, the ones with a happy ending. You know, I like seeing characters, you know, have everything thrown at them. Sometimes they're put through literal hell and then they come out, you know, on top at the end.
Right.
I enjoy those kind of stories. And I also, you know, I think it's a good message for the world now, resilience and, you know, when you get knocked down, you get back up again. And I think that's something good for, you know, everybody to think about. And so I like those kind of stories. And, you know, no matter how dark our stories become, you know, even in Atonement Bell or Haunted, I won't want to spoil it for you, but they do have happy endings.
Good. So that's good to hear.
So I think, you know, readers walk away and they walk away with a good impression. Like, that was a good story. That left me optimistic, not depressed. Right. And I think that makes them come back for more.
Right. Thank you for your time, Mr. Chip.
All right. Thank you.